Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Luche5i. We got a little bit of spooky lighting here, but it's in the spirit of the season, so you can just roll with it. So what I want to talk about today in the video is a really cool situation that came up in the GwentSlam tournament. For those of you that don't know, you can see right here, this is GwentSlam presented by Life Coach. And Life Coach, this is from his channel, so you can see this drawing up here I'm pointing at. He kind of looks like that guy right there. So, this is a game between Freddybabes and Gameking. They're 1-1 in the series right now, and this turns out to be, I think, like a really important turning point. I'm not going to say anything about, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a really important situation that happened. And I want to talk about it because this play specifically kind of illustrates exactly how complex Gwent is as a game and how deep you need to understand like the matchup you're in and the situation you're in and what you should do at any given time. So I think this is a great example of that. So that's what I'm going to cover right now. So the situation going on here, as you can see, both players have even cards. It's 3-3. Is that the carryover is even right now, and Freddybabes started the play first. So, 2 Ekimaras, 6-12, and then Mork started at 5, so it'll be 2. So that's 14, and then same deal here, 12, and then 13, 14 for Gameking. So if Freddy lets the round go, giving it to Gameking on even cards, Gameking gets the opportunity to pass the next round and then force Freddy to play, or Freddy has to play a card and then Gameking can pass at +1. So going into the last round, an extra card up and with position, like, it's such a huge advantage. If I did have to give a percentage, I'd say maybe like over 80% or 80% or more that you win the game from that spot in Gameking's position. So Freddy understands that, so he knows that he has to try to make a play with Ulderic here, and which he is going to play Ulderic, so he does understand that. This also shows how much you need to understand like your own deck and the certain situations you are in specific matchups and things like that. Like monsters will have carryover that's matching you in this spot and things of that nature. You can't let them win on even and all that. So basically, when you look at this play and you know you have to play Ulderic, you start thinking about how to bridge the gap after you do, right? So you're giving him 12 points, which is going to put him to 71. So 55 to 71 is 16 points, and then to win the round you would need 17, right? So you know the Skellige, the Restore deck, is playing 3 Harpooners here, for sure. So the play, like this logic is, you end up getting there fairly quickly. I had to play Ulderic, I had to make up the points. The play has to revolve around Harpooner here. That's pretty quick to get to that conclusion. So execution wise though, for that play to work, you have to play Ulderic on a row that is outside of melee so that you can move the Ulderic into melee with a Harpooner. So let's just count the points up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units on the melee row. Harpooner has a base strength of 8, and moving a unit into the melee row is going to be 9, right? So that's the 17 points that we need to bridge, 71 to 55. However, as we have the play button here pointing at Morkvarg, we should look at this Frost and figure out what this is going to do to the play, right? So Morkvarg will take a tick and he'll go to 1. Then the next tick, Morkvarg will die at 1 and come back at 2, right? So the difference in points from Markberg being at 3 at the beginning of this sequence to 2 is only 1. However, that 1 extra point means that a harpooner doesn't make the play. It doesn't work with just a harpooner. You end up tying the round in your -1 card, right? So in order to play this accurately, given your hand, you do have Priestess, which is beautiful in this spot. So you need to play the Ulderic outside of the melee row, setting up for a harpooner to pull it to the melee row. However, when you see the harpooner off of Ulderic, you have to discard it in order to res it with Priestess. That allows you to get that extra point, and you win the round by 1 point at -1 cards, which is far, far more preferable than letting Gameking have the round on even cards and then going into the last round down a card as well. This is just far better result, right? So that's why the play's so cool. Like, you can see that, like, there's a lot of stuff that you need to calculate accurately, first of all. Second of all, even in the case where you make, like, let's say 4 out of the 5 steps, you execute them properly. If you don't execute all the way through, the play doesn't work. Like, first of all, you know you had to play Ulderic, right? Secondly, the play has to revolve around harpooner, right? So execution, Ulderic has to go here, harpooner to the front. That's fine. Third, you need to pay attention to the frost, because if you miscalculate this even by 1 point, then the play wouldn't work either way. Like, a harpooner doesn't work by itself, and then if you think that frost deals 4, you know, if you're thinking just like frost over 2 turns, and don't account for Morkvar coming back, then a Priestess on harpooner doesn't work either. So that's another aspect of the turn, like calculating this accurately also. Like, if it's not basically like perfectly calculated, the play does not work. It just doesn't work. So you need to know that. So once Ulderic shows you the 2 cards, if there's a harpooner there, it must be discarded. That's another aspect of the turn. Like, even if you did calculate the whole thing and you're thinking about that you need a harpooner, you're thinking about that you need a harpooner, if you see the harpooner off of Ulderic and you take it, you lose a round. You have to discard it and resurrect it. That's a major part of this turn as well. So I'm actually going to find the point where he plays it so you guys can see what happens here, and then we can talk a little bit more about that. So he plays it here, he plays it in the melee row, and he sees 2 harpooners, as we saw right there. So again, it's not about calling out Freddy or anything like that, but I think it's really cool that the way things worked out, when you calculate the play, it would work here. That's the cool thing about it. Like, you see 2 harpooners actually, so you can't even make the mistake. So like, if he had played the Ulderic anywhere on these 2 rows, if he sees 2 harpooners, he's actually going to calculate it and know that he has to res one after the play ends up happening. So that's really cool. The way things worked out, the situation that we talked about before happens here, where it's going to be even carryover, and then Gameking just has a way better position than the way it would have worked out. But that's the play there. I think that's like a pretty awesome situation, like very high stakes tournament situation that really shows in Gwent that there are a lot of levels to the game. I actually think this is a really, really great game. I'm very happy to be a part of the game so far. So that's it, guys. I have fun. Like, I love doing this analysis stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.